And welcome back to another Tales of Tribute game. And today we're gonna pick Almalexia and Druid King at the start as usual. My opponent goes with Red Eagle. We are going second and a Pelin. So it's actually the exact same setup as the last game, but this one goes quite a bit differently actually. First pick would certainly be Festival Forbearance. That one is the economy card. Simple pick. And Bardic Veneration is basically the unupgraded version of it, which I will go for. I do have an extra power. Sorry, I do have an extra coin, which allows me to discard my coin and try to mess with his next draw to prevent him from getting use of that festival, which will prove very handy in the future because it doesn't allow him to get 2 power. Now in this case, he goes for Philanthropy, but I think Midnight Raid is actually the more powerful card. My opponent is trying for an Almalexia strategy, which is fine. I think he may go for Mother's Mercy next in that case, which. I mean, I'm going to go for Archer's Volley for sure. He doesn't have enough money to pay for it anyway, so if I were him, Archer's Volley, but he goes for Wisp-Heart Totem, which I don't think is that great, to be honest. You don't tend to pick out that many Druid King cards. I mean, the board doesn't look very Druid King-y at the moment. We do have enough to afford the Archer's Volley, which is a snap pick. I don't really have much else to do. What I can do is use Almalexia again to try to prevent him from getting any good cards. Turns out he has no good cards to get rid of, so I don't do anything with it. The way this game is shaping up is I have 2 good power cards, the Midnight Raid and the Pelin card, so I'm gonna go for try a rush strategy in this case and see if I can beat him faster than his Almalexia deck can get going, because he doesn't really generate too much power except for the Philanthropy. That's basically his only card that generates power. The rest is just cycling and trying to get to his good cards, of which he has a couple. I'm gonna pick Legion's Arrival for sure. I want that one very, very badly. My opponent might pick Mother's Mercy. Oh, no. Uses Whispers of the Grove. Okay, Lesson of I Am he's certainly gonna pick up, but it leaves the Legion's Arrival for myself, so that's a very important card. 3 power for a red combo. I will take it for sure. 1 extra power left. I have the option to shuffle the Tavern, but I choose not to. I really want the Briarheart Ritual, and I know my opponent can't buy it this turn because he has the extra power token, and I'm lucky enough to be able to pick up the Briarheart Ritual. So rush strategy, we have a Pelin and a Red Eagle in play. I can use the reach powers to. I don't want my opponent to get Elder Witch, and I'm scared he might be able to get it, so I replace that. And I don't really want him to get Hand of Almalexia either. I think it's a bit annoying to have to break through. I'm not sure about that, but I decide to Druid King that away, and it reveals a pretty useless barter, so he's going to use it to shuffle something, and then we're going to see what the Tavern reveals. Don't like spending 2 power in a rush game. You try to spend as little power as possible, try to get to the victory. But so far, things are about even. He's gonna pick up the Legion's Arrival because he doesn't want me to get more, but the thing is he doesn't really have that much red power, so picking up Legion's Arrival is like a 2 gold card for the most part. I'm very, very happy to pick up Bonfire. Let's use our Almalexia cards a bit to yeah, get rid of the. We can get rid of the Reachmen token, that's no problem, because we're going to pick up all these Reachmen contracts in the future anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Almalexia, Bardic Veneration, very good for shuffling away our gold coins. So our deck is pretty small right now, and I'm quite happy with the direction that we're going in. My opponent is not really producing that much power. If I would definitely buy the Imprisonment if I had the chance, since I'm trying to rush my opponent down. My opponent may want to pick up the Imprisonment in order to stop me from getting it. The problem is he reveals another card. It is Bloody Offering, which is exactly what I'm looking for actually. But unfortunately we are a bit tight on our gold. And I use the reach power to draw a card, and like a lucker I get a 2 gold cards. We don't need the Pelin card because we already have 2 Pelin cards, so we just don't need that. It is not a useful token to have. Well, it depends, but because since we are trying to rush down, it's a slightly higher value, but I still dislike it, and we already have the combo with our own. He has to buy Sheath's Weapon Volley because otherwise I'm going to buy it for sure, but it makes his deck a bit worse. Every red card he buys makes his deck worse because he's not getting the Almalexia combos off. He shuffles for no reason and reveals a Forest Wraith, which is a brilliant card that I'm going to pick up because it does generate quite a bit of power. At this point I'm trying to figure out how to buy it before I use my Almalexia cards, because Almalexia actually triggers that. the passive. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to do that, so it's okay. I mean, we still have a lot of power available. Revealing an armory, which I would buy if I had the option. I was trying to see if I could get it, but let's just pick up the Black Sacrament and stop my opponent from killing the Forest Wraith. My opponent is likely going to pick up the Armory next, which means my next turn is free. Armory is not going to save him. He needs to cycle through his deck a bit in order to get to it. He's going to pick up the Armory for sure. I have an option between Right Collar and Blackmail, but we are really rushing our opponent down by quite a bit at this moment. We're about to win, in fact, in probably the next turn. So Blackmail I think is the better option here, but I pick up the Right Collar, which I'm not too sure that was correct. I think Blackmail actually might have been the better call here, because we're just trying to get to 40 prestige as fast as possible before my opponent can reach that section. So far my opponent not quite there. Another option that we can do is Blackmail and just keep using Almalexia powers to try to mess with his draws as much as possible. It is difficult to mess with our draws because our deck is small and we have a couple of Almalexia. We have one Almalexia card to help try to smooth it out. So it's something my opponent could be doing as well, but he is being very economical and spending as much money as possible, which does not allow him to use the Almalexia power on me, unfortunately. He picks up Bankrai Sentries because it's a blocker, and he picks up the Blackmail, so it stopped me from getting a Blackmail, which is perfectly acceptable, but he has already revealed Karth Manhunter, which I would love to get. I already have one Midnight Raid in my deck, so if I draw that, I will be super, super happy. And we do draw it. So yeah, that's the power of getting these 3 power cards, plus Reachmen. It makes it very, very easy to do a rush strategy. So that is a lot of power. We don't really need that collection plate, I think, and we just pass the turn, 45 prestige. Don't think my opponent can get out of this. So things to learn from this game. It's actually the same setup as my last video, same patrons, but a very different outcome. And it's very important to understand how you can win the game based on what the tavern is showing you. Like, I saw the opportunity, I saw an early Midnight Raid and an early Pelin 3 power card, and from there you actually are capable of devising a strategy to win, which is the rush strategy. It's the same principle. You get a lot of reach cards to make your deck as small as possible, but yeah, that was a fun game, and that's it.